here, okay? 2 butterfly hooks, okay? Ankle control, kicking the leg through. Last week, we just focused on a standard single leg X guard, okay? Different reasons to switch between the two, aside from just wanting to perform inside heel hooks, okay? Joe's not always gonna stand like this. If he steps this leg back and he starts simulating sitting in a chair, this is really difficult to sweep people with sometimes, okay? So, my right foot, the inside foot that's on the far leg, when I make the decision to switch, it's gonna go under this leg, okay? If you're not flexible or you just want to get down the range of motion, okay, what you can do here is you can take your left foot, plant it on the floor, okay? You're gonna bridge, and at the height of your bridge, you're gonna extend this leg, okay? From here, what I'm looking to do is pull myself fully perpendicular, okay? As I'm doing this, I'm not using this hand. So I'm gonna frame on this tricep to make sure he doesn't face me, okay? During this moment, I'm gonna take my free leg, go under this leg, and my feet are as high as possible, clamping the hip. Do not move your feet, guys, okay? From here, I'm gonna start to extend my legs and pinch my knees so that this leg elevates. Do not move your feet, okay? From here, grab the kneecap, not the calf, not the ankle, not the knee pads. You need to grab the kneecap, okay? Now I'm moving my bottom leg as I pull his knees together. From here, I'm making a triangle. I'm gonna curl my heels, sit them to the mat, and control both kneecaps here, okay? I want you just hugging the kneecaps for now so he doesn't start getting this leg free or start bailing away from you, okay? Try to move a little bit. Okay. This is a good place to stop, all right? Balance, okay? I'm framing so he doesn't face me. This hook goes under, okay? That's what makes this reverse X. This is X guard. This is reverse X guard, okay? From here, I keep my knees together. I bring my feet over my head. I bring my knees in. I control his kneecap. I kick this leg through, triangle, heel stomp, and as we land, I want to control his kneecap, okay? Mike, try to pull your leg away. See, he's going to have to hand fight to do that, okay? It's not wrong to attack the legs right away, but if he's ready to defend and I go to stuff like this, he does have more mobility with his legs. Yeah. Make sense? All right, cool, let's go. So guys, really when you position your feet here, what you're doing is both shin bones are clamping Mike's hip here. So up until I capture the saddle, like I don't want to let go of this clamp on his hip, okay? Some of you are moving your feet around a lot. That's going to give him an avenue to escape this, okay? Second thing, since I can't move my feet out of the spot, that means I'm only going to move my legs. Think like, all right, this sounds weird, but like you're a mermaid. You have just like a giant tail here. So, see, my feet aren't moving out of the spot. It's just like a whip this way, okay? Now, when I want to bring his knee in, it's like one of those scissor lifts, like, you know, the telephone guy uses on the poles. Just bring that lift down, and then you'll be able to reach the knee. I'm seeing a lot of you not only not grab the knee, but not use this hand altogether. This is what I'm going to do. This is what he's going to do if he's good at jiu-jitsu, and I try to do this very sloppy. Slide that knee through. That's what's going to happen. Here is that we're trying to bundle the legs, okay? So we need to have very good control of the legs. I want you to focus on that, okay? So single X, he's basing well. Maybe I can't get any attacks going, so I'm going to switch my butterfly hook to the same side. Plant, bridge, kick. I'm framing here so he doesn't face me. I'm getting perpendicular. This foot's going under, and we're keeping our feet high. It should feel like you have a clamp on this hip, okay? The analogy is like one of those scissor lifts, okay? I'm going to kick my feet overhead without moving them. I'm going to retract my knees to bring his knee in close so it's easier to grab, okay? Now from here, I'm only going to move this foot, the outside foot. Straight, triangle, clamp. As I sit up, I'm going to hug this far kneecap so it's not bailing out right away. Make sense? Okay, try to keep your leg away from me. I can't reach it. So use your knees, guys. Keep it away. See, I just bend my knees. That brings the leg to me. Now you can try to back heel all you want, like try to kick away. Nice and easy. Okay. That's the analogy I mean with like your feet are like a scissor lift. Okay. Your feet are staying in the same spot, but your knees are making that lift like retract. So whatever you're latched to brings it closer to you. Guys, remember, once we get here, this is what's gonna happen if you have the ability to grab the kneecap and you don't. If I go to grab lower and I stretch this leg, Joe's gonna cut this knee through, and then you're gonna have to go back to something else. Okay, sorry. So I'm very adamant that you keep your feet in this position and that you grab the kneecap so that when I stretch this leg through, I want you to try to get that knee out. Go ahead. I have way more time and leverage and everything to get to where I need to be, okay? That knee is not just gonna dip out on me. All right, so trouble of going to reverse X and bringing this leg in. Mike knows I want this leg, so as soon as I let go of this leg, it's off to the races, yeah. Okay, now I have the kneecap. Now do it, Mike. See, we need to have that control, guys. Does that make sense? Sit to his hip here. I will back roll with him. And either stay there or just like go right back to saddle. Okay? We can follow him in that regard, okay? One of the major differences between this and, like, for example, what we did last week is our knee position, okay? So when we're here, I'm always pulling my knees in before I have a submission, okay? If I start to open my legs before I have any sort of submission, Joe can get through this gap, maybe even something as simple as slipping away. Go back, please. But let's say I'm holding on really tight and he's not necessarily slipping out. He's gonna get busy with this leg and he's gonna use this as a wedge. You can just push, yeah. So if we're not very mindful of that, again, saddle can be one of the easiest leg entanglements to escape, okay? So keep those knees pinched and again, make sure you stay above the knee, okay? All right, so let's say, for example, Joe's keeping his legs straight here, okay? So a couple details. I'm already gonna be going in this direction anyway to get the heel hook, okay? So bring your lat down to the end of the lever here, right by his heel. And make sure as you're going for the heel hook, you're using this to keep a bend in his knee, okay? As I'm doing that, I have a free hand. I'm gonna use this hand again to push the ankle down, okay? When we go for the heel, we don't wanna pull this up. This is a very weak position to catch a heel hook, okay? I'm pushing this down, okay? As I go here, again, I'm gonna do exactly what we did last week. A wide elbow, and I'm bringing this perpendicular to my body, to the knuckles of his toes. So now if he moves his leg around, okay, we have a pretty good bite on this, okay? From here, I'm gonna just raise my wrist bone, thumb up towards my face. Open fingers, all five glued together. This hand's gonna point down for the gable grip. I'm gonna pull my elbows in, pull my hands to my chest, okay? Now let's look at some of the different angles we can finish here, okay? If Joe starts to turn this way, or if I'm able to turn him this way, I'm gonna put my head and my shoulder on the ground. I'm gonna open my knees at this point, okay? I'm gonna bump my hips to the ceiling and push through his knee. If he starts to rotate this way, before I get there, okay, we'll go to a backside finish here. If he continues to rotate, we're gonna do this very slow. We're gonna go belly down, head on the ground, knees wide, and that one shouldn't take too much, okay? Be very careful, all right? So just for now, I'm gonna let Mike have this leg back, okay? All right. So, we're in saddle. One of the main things you're going to have to pay attention to in saddle is when to close your knees and when to open your knees, okay? The answer is simple. If I don't have a heel hook yet or any submission locked in, I'm not going to open my knees, and this is why. One of Mike's main escapes here is going to be to make a wedge with this foot on this knee, open this lock, straighten that leg, or maybe even spin out of it to free his knee, okay? So I want to make sure I have this triangle tight, okay? Now, same thing. I'm pushing the heel down, okay? This is another thing we got to stop doing, guys. Don't pull this up and try to hook this, okay? This is a weak motion, A, and B, you saw how easy his heel just came out. You need to push this down, okay? And remember, we're not doing this, okay? If we do this, same thing happens, the heel slips through. We're going here, okay? The tricep is going along the knuckle of the toes so that we pinch that to the ribs, okay? That's very important. It's probably the most important part here. Now all we do is lift the thumb up, gable grip, okay? If I can bump my hips and turn this way, I'll just open my knees and go into my shoulder, okay? That's when I open my knees, when I'm ready to finish, so I can push his knee out as I pull his heel in the opposite spot, okay? If Mike decides to turn this way, that's even better for us. We're gonna lock that triangle. We got a sideways finish through the knee. If he continues to go, even worse, we're gonna go belly down. Sorry. And move our head through the mat, okay? So, sorry.
No.
We have, once we get that heel, we have a pretty strong avenue of finishes here. I'm gonna underhook his leg. Get nice and tight. You can even tuck your head to his ankle like a reverse arm lock, okay? But the main thing here is we're staying tight to the kneecap. I'm gonna take this hand, reach behind, grip his foot, bring it to this side, and just push his ankle into my pocket. Now from here, like, I'll stay really tight to this knee. At this moment, he's probably gonna be panicking a little bit because his legs are totally crossed, okay? He's gonna be hand fighting, okay? I almost wanna sell him on this hand fight, like I'm just trying to control this knee. And when I feel him get so focused on this, that's when I can go right back to the heel, okay? Once I catch it, I'll just retract this hand. He can even have this leg back, but once I have it caught, I have a way better shot of finishing him now. I can go back to the first two finishes. Okay? Go under the ankle, shelf this up here. Tight to the kneecap. Guys, look at how important it is to go to the kneecap. Watch this. I'm gonna grab his shin, get your leg back. Okay? I'm gonna grab his quad, get your leg back. Okay? Now I'm gonna grab his kneecap, get your leg back. It keeps a nice, good twist in his knee, and it gives me very good leverage with my elbow here. So I really insist that you guys grab the kneecap, okay? I trade hands, I reach behind the head, I grip the foot, I pull this around, and ideally, I'm gonna push that all the way into my pocket so his hips get really weak here. In the event that I do start losing traction in this hand fight, it's gonna take him way more time to get this leg back to the other side, and in that time, like, it should buy me way more time to get a catch on the heel, okay? So here, guys, again, since we're only using one hand this time, make sure you're really utilizing your lat to keep a bend in the knee. Perpendicular elbow, or perpendicular tricep here. And now you can come over with that leg if you want, so I'm already finished. Assumption this time that Joe did get this leg back, and he's starting to bring it to the inside here, okay? And we're starting to slip down this knee. So I really need to clamp this knee down when he begins to do that. So what I'm gonna do is very similar to the elbow hop we did last week, okay? I'm gonna have my tricep next to his ankle, and as he's pushing, I'm gonna turn away from him. So my top hip is clamping down on his knee, okay? Now when I do this, it should get his knee stuck between my top leg and my bottom leg. So now if he goes to pull away, see, he's not moving very far, okay? We equate this to, you lay on your side, please? Face this way. A monoplata, okay? So when you do a monoplata, it's very similar in that you're isolating the shoulder, okay? So if you haven't seen a monoplata before, it looks something like this. Can you move your shoulder? Can you move your arm? But look, once I disengage my legs, just like the heel hook, see his arm moves, okay? You just have a seat. All right, so again, we're here. Joe starts to get to the inside. I have to turn as soon as possible here. And guys, you see, I'm not just jamming this here and turning this down. I'm basically like laying on his leg. Okay, I need to stay really tight to this, okay? Now, before I start to move out of this position, I need to deal with this. He's making a wedge here to pull his leg out. So if I loosen up too much at any point, his leg is gonna come out. So I'm gonna reach through, scoop up his Achilles, okay? From here, I can do a 2-in-1 detail, okay? I can push this to the ground and also use this as a post, okay? So now, when I decide to come up, I can retract my leg and start to bring my forehead to the ground with this post, okay? Now from here, I'm posting on my forehead, okay? If you haven't already, you can relock that triangle and get your knees really tight to his knees so he's not ripping out right away, okay? I'm still using my tricep to stay tight to his shin here, okay? Now when I'm ready, I'm posting on the head. I'm gonna let go of this foot. I'm gonna push his ankle into my pocket. I'm gonna make a nice wide tricep grip here again. It's the same thing, just at an upside down angle. Get the bite on the foot. And now I can go back to potentially a belly down finish, okay? And if he starts to turn, we kind of already have a sense of what we can do from there. Okay, one more time. People posting on their heads a lot in jiu-jitsu because it's kind of dangerous, but we're already on the ground. This position's relatively static. This is an okay place to post with your head without getting a head or a neck injury, okay? So, when we start to come up here, okay, I post. I'm gonna switch the post to my head once I get belly down so I can free up my hands, okay? So from here, what I'm gonna look to do is push his ankle in, draw back to the toe line, and then from there we can get a pretty tight finish if we stay there, okay? If he starts rolling, that's basically gonna go to the other finishes, okay? Monopod hooks, okay? Let's get this foot out from inside the knee. Retract this foot. Come up to your head, okay? Come up to your knees. We're still keeping this tricep tight, okay? From here, I'll switch my tricep to my wrist and keep that ankle in place. Wide elbow, right to the toe line. And then we can start going through the knee. Our belly down finish, okay? If Beto continues to rotate with the motion, continue to rotate. Okay, we'll end up right back at the beginning again too. The entry again, okay? So, how does that last drill fit in with the what ifs of the entry, okay? So again, if I get here and I'm going a little too far overhead and he falls to his hip, and I back roll with him, look, it's the same spot. I'll let go of that leg, push this in, and it's the same type of finish, okay? Furthermore, with what we were just doing, okay? Again, I just said this during the last technique. This is the basis for a very dynamic range of motion, okay? It's not always gonna go down like this, okay? So what I mean is, when we get to that last drill, a lot of times when we get here, Joe's gonna identify that he cannot pull his leg out, and he's gonna continue to start to come up. Go ahead. And from there, that's when we're gonna need to stay very tight here. And in the event that he does start spinning, again, in those scrambles, that's where we can start to catch the heel again. Make sense? Mm-hmm. So I don't want you guys to start with that stuff yet, especially if you're newer to this, okay? It's good to start positions like that static so you can get the steps and the details and the concepts down. And then once you have that down, stuff like that is gonna come so much easier to you. Make sense? All right, cool.